Guess who's back again? Throwback's back. Tell a friend. I hopefully I don't get pinged on that. What is up, you guys? Welcome to Crazy Pinfalls. The usual stuff we do. We take over the world with an iron fist. And yes, I am back in my own seat. God damn it. I should have put Goku hitting Zamasu and just put like, yeah, the king's back. We got our usual set, the two dynamic duo, not starting their own freaking faction. Yes, that is true. We got Ray over here and Mr. Muted. I hate to say his line, Aaron Lucian.
Oh. You know, man, I have to troll some stuff, man. I have to troll.
Oh, God. What do we do to ourselves sometimes? I swear.
You've got someone else who can't even show up on time.
I wonder what his reaction would be like seeing my name here.
He's not even going to catch it. He's going to miss it like I did. It's very subtle. Very subtle.
I mean, I was wondering, like, that got Twitter buzzing. Like,
yeah, I don't know. I think because obviously the reaction on Twitter was mostly negative. I get it, like, and I don't disagree with it, but I think the timing of when they decided to debut her was kind of a bad move. Like, and I get there's the whole dynamic of like heat and buzz and all that stuff, but like she was gonna come in fairly heelish anyways because that's kind of how she left. But I look at the fact that you just fired 4 women that are all better than her at pretty much anything that you're going to ask her to do. And then within 2-3 weeks, you go, hey, here's a new female talent. I don't really like doing that. I think if they had waited a while, and I know she's been there since November, December, I think had they debuted her a little earlier and then made the roster cuts that they made or budget cuts, or had they waited a little while longer to let that kind of simmer down before debuting her, like I think the timing wasn't great. But yeah, that Twitter was not thrilled with that one.
Well, I mean, like Twitter, it doesn't matter it doesn't matter when they got cut. Twitter would not be thrilled Eva Marie if she was hired back in December or September.
Sure.
And as sad as those people got released, Eva Marie is going to generate more buzz than them, unfortunately.
I already hate the marketing ploy evolution. Come on, man. What is this? Dragon Ball? I mean, come on.
And
it was supposed to be Emelina.
It's pretty tone deaf, I think, too, just because of like people have been asking for evolution too. And like I get that people want to have evolution 2 be in front of a crowd, and that's fair. But at the same time, you can't give someone who is representative of an era that you have moved on from with this evolution a gimmick that is so close to that. I don't think that plays very well. But I agree with you that like whenever she debuted, people were going to be mad. But I do think that the fact that people are not over the releases yet, that didn't help her case at all as far as the way the Twitter goes, because a lot of people, and not that Twitter is what matters because, they clearly don't care, but it didn't help her in that sense as far as like, hey, you've got recently released talents and then here's somebody that nobody wanted anyway. So,
yeah. But here's the thing, WWE, they know nobody wants her, but like I said, she generates lots of heat. That's why they're going to use her a lot because she gets attention. Okay, they don't know that. It's Xbox heat. She has Xbox heat, but WWE doesn't know the difference anymore between Xbox heat and actual heel heat. And that's exactly the case of Eva Marie.
What do you mean by Xbox heat? I like Mr. Sean Waltman.
No, you mean, yeah. Going away heat, guys. She has going away heat, but WWE doesn't know the difference anymore.
That's fair.
And one thing, they're not going to have those "you can't wrestle" chants because it's in the Thunderdome. They're not going to pipe those chants in. You can't wrestle. They're not going to do that.
For now, while you can still control that. But we also don't know. She might not be used in an in-ring capacity. She might very well be a manager for someone. And no, I don't think it will. I don't think it'll be for Parker Boudreaux. Like I believe what I've heard too of like he's very far away. And again, I'm not in a rush to get him. He's like
Nearby.
23 years. He's like 23 years old.
He's
If it
long,
takes
man.
him-
He's green. He's
If
very.
it takes him 5 years, he'll be 28. Oh no, 15 years of the guy. If all works out, like I'm willing to wait 5 to get 15. Like
The problem
it's,
Parker
it's
Porter
worth
Jones,
waiting.
he right now he's buying into his hype, and that's a dangerous thing right now for a young person is to buy into their hype.
Yes and no, because you can build that hype for a long time, and so like if he starts to accelerate well enough to really show like, hey, I might not need 5 years to get there, then he's already got the fan backing. As soon as he's actually ready, they're gonna get him in there. They'll get him in there before he's actually ready, to be honest. But I'm willing to wait because whenever he comes up, everyone's gonna lose their minds.
The problem is, I agree with you because they build up the hype like Brock Lesnar, and I think that's a dangerous thing to build him like Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar's a one of a kind. I'm sorry, there's not gonna be like another Brock Lesnar. He's a one of a kind.
It's 20 years ago. I mean, it's a once in a generation talent if he does it correctly. And again, I'm very much
WWE does it correctly.
Yeah.
Or NXT first does it correctly.
Yeah. And I don't mind hyping a guy up like that because what are we talking about? They can't build stars. This is one is in your lap. You can't screw this up.
They can screw everything. Who are you kidding?
No, I meant that. I meant you can't screw this up. Like,
what's up, Max?
This is so easy to hit that it is a colossal failure if you don't make this work. So take your time.
By the time this guy is ready, we're not optimistic about this. By the time the guy is ready, there's a chance WWE's writing storytelling might be actually better. I mean, like better than it is now. There's a chance, but
you guys can. I'm working on something because we're having technical difficulties with Twitch.
Oh no, not on the Twitch.
Yeah, but no, you guys are right though. It's ridiculous though because it's like, don't you expect like, don't you expect them to like? Oh gosh. Confirm. Okay. Don't you guys expect them to screw everything up to begin with? I mean, they always do in some way, shape, or form.
I thought you meant, don't I always expect Parker to screw up? I'm like, why would I?
No, but I'm saying like, if you're gonna monarch her as Evolution, but the way, what are you gonna do? I mean, you're gonna put her on Raw, but the thing is that it's. Oh my god! If they put the title on her,
do you remember? Do you remember when she was SmackDown? Do you remember on SmackDown? And she, remember? It's my worst fear to get her title on her because how much heat she gets. But do you remember on SmackDown when they started the draft, their split brands? They were talking about actually putting the title on Eva Marie before she left.
Okay, that's disgusting in the first place, but like. That's also a different era. I really hope you cannot put that title on her, whether it's on Rhea, whether it's on Charlotte, whether it's on Asuka, whether like
I know.
No.
I think she's better as a manager. That's her role as a manager.
That ain't happening with the money they're paying her.
How much? I haven't seen figures. Are they really that significant?
They probably are.
Why do you think they are? Like she doesn't. It's not like she was like killing it over on AEW. Like she hasn't wrestled since she left there before.
Who is this?
Eva.
Talk about Eva Marie. Yeah,
She tried an acting career. She's been in some movies, and then. She's basically been doing some fitness videos on her Instagram and YouTube, but then back to WWE.
It's ridiculous. It really is, because it's like, what are you gonna do? Is she gonna go on and revitalize like the Divas show, the like Total Divas and stuff?
Well, that's how she made her name.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think like just because she came back doesn't mean that she has to be at the top of the card. Like I really do hope that she is in a manager role and maybe she gets in the ring every once in a while. And I hate to make this comparison because I absolutely love this person, but similar to like what we saw with Zelina, where she's mostly a manager but every once in a while she hops in the ring. But with Zelina, it was hopefully that she could eventually turn into a consistent in-ring person who also managed, because
She's
Zelina was good.
Yeah.
I loved Zelina's in-ring work. I wanted to see more of it. But
remember when Eva Marie left, Mandy Rose took on that stigma of being just a beauty face in that Karen wrestle. That has definitely changed now. Mandy Rose over the years has gone much better in the ring, and unlike Eva Marie, I think Mandy Rose had more passion for wrestling than Eva Marie ever did.
yeah, I would say so.
But the question is that what are they going to do next? Like, they put a Maserati in that thing. That's not cheap, man. You know.
I mean, they painted on Bad Bunny's like $3 million car too. It's like,
yeah,
they do that. They poured cement into a Corvette. They blew up cars before. I mean, yeah.
I can't deal. I really can't. Like,
they spray paint private jets before.
Yeah, but do you know the story behind that though? Alleged story is that Vince was getting rid of that jet to begin with, so it was like one of those things.
They always do that stuff. Any of those.
And I wouldn't be surprised Bad Bunny did, but putting a Maserati kind of style car, like a Lamborghini or something like that, and having 6-inch high heels on the hood.
Yeah.
Like, come on. I have nothing against her as a talent. We've seen what she can do. I mean, the fiascos with the dress and all, that's been documented and stuff. But let's see this iteration compared to what it was. I think a lot of things have changed completely. And I am definitely praying they do something, but don't give her the title, man. I mean, as much as she's bringing a draw, she's doing movies. She has fitness on stuff on YouTube, Instagram, and stuff like that. Social media is great. We do it here, and I'm saying it's great. Facebook, Twitch, all that stuff. Check that out. We're 5 subscriptions away from hitting 225 subscriptions. This channel started with 8 almost a year ago. So let's hit that. We got 2 more weeks to the 50th episode, and we've got the end of the month for it. And the end of the month week, on the week of the 23rd, you're going to get 4 shows that week. So it's going to be busy, but it's going to be fun. The thing about it is though, if they put the title on her, it's literally going to be one of those things that's going to insult the viewer, because it's like, great, she's a great performer, she could do all this stuff, but why put her on the title when you already have Rhea as your champion and you have Bianca as a champion? Are you going to take the titles away, put it on her, and then
she generates a lot of heat?
Yeah, I don't see that ever happening. Like, and been proven plenty of times that I'm wrong about stuff, but I don't see her getting close to that.
Every time I watch her finish a move at NXT, when I watch her at NXT, the sliced bread, the Brian Kendrick move, she does it such a slow motion, and does not look good.
Yeah, and admittedly, for her work, I didn't catch very much of it, because most of the time she was there was in my little like hiatus away.
Oh, yeah, you know who her bodyguard was, right? At NXT, you know who it was.
I don't recall.
Nia Jax.
Oh jeez.
Oh god.
Oh no. We're gonna get a reunion. They're on the same brand, and she's in a tag team rooted in Can They Coexist? Oh no. You heard it here, folks.
Oh gosh.
We're getting a reunion. But you know what? If that gets Shayna Baszler away from her, then yes, please do it. There you go. No titles involved.
Yeah, I agree there. Get Shayna away from Nia, 100%.
I mean, what would you do with her though? Would you put her in a top? I could see this. And women's wrestling is awesome. I'm going to say this first and foremost, because we're not bashing this thing. We're just stating opinions and stuff. I can see them doing a mini faction, and this would kind of work with Eva Marie, Mandy Rose, Dana Brooke, and then a 4th. And you can do like a new version of the 4 Horsewomen.
Lana.
Just let me finish.
That is bold, brother.
Let me finish.
Okay.
Where they're considered not the real 4 horsewomen, and then you get the like a Survivor Series match with all of them.
Yeah, but Drew, from what I could tell, she hasn't really been training wrestling outside when she left. The difference is Nikki Bella actually had passion for it.
Yeah, but I think his point too is he pretty much thinks, manager role, but maybe she does get in the ring a little bit, which I do think that's realistic. A lot. I mean, the whole idea of like, well, what do you do with her if not a title? That's what most of the show is supposed to be. Like, you really only have the
here's
one
the thing.
title.
People criticize Lana for being a better wrestler. Have you noticed the last few matches she's been in? She's actually been very good in her limited time.
Well, I think that's the key, is limited time, which is fine. Like, not everyone has to be Shayna Baszler level good when booked properly, because normally lately that doesn't mean much.
I think you say that.
But she's very, very good when you just let her rip people's arm off. And
for that 5 minutes, hold it to the arm.
Yeah,
hold it to the arm for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they have to figure something out, because if they're taking in this type of money in, then what is going to happen down the line? I mean, it for me, I am hoping that something good comes about it, but who knows what will be.
Here's the thing. She has a massive fan base. Eva Marie, as much as a lot of people don't like her, she has a massive fan base.
Yeah. But so does Liv Morgan. And she
doesn't get used.
She doesn't get used at all. So, I mean, that they really don't listen to
Eva Marie, here's the thing. You know, we talk about Alexa Bliss and Sasha Banks stands. Eva Marie has them too.
Mm-hmm.
So let me go through this whole thing right now, like you already pointed out. I was watching beforehand on Twitch. We were watching. I was love wrestling CA, and Spencer had Mags on there. So I wanted to say, hey Mags, it was great seeing your conversation with Spencer. And like I said on there, when I typed it in the chat, it's always great to learn something. And so, like I said, you're always welcome. Susan, who's a friend, says, I wish I knew Bad Bunny's rap music said, because it was a great beat. And then, your homie Ron Patel.
For her to Denise. She'll tell
us. It's always happy is back that I'm here controlling the chair right now. But sadly, Ray still has the controls too. And someone else that's in the shadows does too, which that person shall be nameless.
Where is that person who's supposed to be here? The one who got the shot today.
Mr. Anakin, Mr. Coward.
Oh God, here we go.
He couldn't stand the heat, so he stayed out of the kitchen. So I guess I have to respect that a little bit.
I'm waiting for somebody just to like text somebody, send a message, and be like, "Hey, where it is."
Oh yeah.
But there's difference because you could do Sasha stands too. But I mean, I can't say anything because I support local talent, and Sasha's from Boston. So
yeah,
are you watching the street fight right now on NXT?
Don't ruin it because we're still going on through NXT till the end of the month.
And you're always about a minute and a half ahead.
I haven't been paying attention because I've been paying attention to this more actually. To be honest with you guys.
I have it on my other screen, but I'm not like closely paying attention. I see like that it's Swerve and Leon Ruff, and I like that on my TV.
Well,
do you see that guy? Do you see the guy who just interfered? I don't even know who he is because I think
no. Shh. It's fine. The match it is. Don't say that there's interference. That's giving away stuff, man.
Well, don't ruin it because I'm going to watch it later. But this kind of segues into something else I wanted to talk about. What do you think of that deal that, like AAA says, they're open for business? The MLW possible deal.
MLW with WWE deal or MLW?
Yeah.
It doesn't surprise me because you look at the fact that they're going on Vice. Vice is not a top tier channel.
No, but Vice is good for the one show it has.
Vice is very good for a lot of their shows, actually. Like, I'm a fan of that channel. I wish I had it, but it's not on YouTube TV. So I get like whatever kind of trickles down into the lowest tier of Hulu, which is always good stuff. Like that's a good channel. But I don't know who owns Vice, but I think it might be in the family of like the USA or the Fox stuff. So if that's true, then it's kind of within your network's family. And then you have the fact that like you see AEW is working with everybody, including MLW, if we're going to be honest, because like Brian Pillman Jr. is still under contract. He was wrestling on Dark tonight. Like he's going back and forth. There's a few other people that do that too. And MLW does a lot of business with a lot of other companies too. So it'll be interesting to see. And I don't think that MLW will be like this dividing place where the war turns different, but it will be interesting to see where MLW's allegiances. It'll be interesting to see kind of where their allegiances lie, because they do have it's not a clean relationship with AEW, but there is some back and forth there. You might get some weird stuff at MLW where it's like, hey, these two low card WWE and AEW talents cross paths. You might get Humberto Carrillo and Kip Sabian in the same room, and you're like, oh, that's different.
You get to mention Sean's favorite wrestler.
Well, let me the idea, and this was on the distraction on their Twitch. Go to Fightful Game and check that stuff out while you can.
It's a good
show. When they were talking about this, people were throwing ideas as Roman against Jacob Fatu.
That'd be real good.
There's matches, scenarios you can do, kind of like the MLW champion, women's champion, whoever that may be, against. And I threw this out.
One.
Well,
do they never know. Division?
They don't. They don't have.
They have women wrestlers on their whole thing.
I have been watching for a handful of months in a row now, like every Wednesday, and I haven't seen any women's matches.
I just know the one they're the managers or GMs or management.
Yeah,
women.
There's a few that are in some authority roles and some kind of commentators.
Selena, right? Selena Day something.
Yeah, De La Renta.
Well, they can flip that switch. They can flip that switch anyways and just make it a lot better. But you could have something like, I'm gonna get chewed out for because my love of NXT UK. So why not do this now?
Watched last week.
While we're like literally 22 minutes in. You could set up a 4-way match if MLW had a women's championship versus the UK champion versus between that. Now let me, before Ray starts snickering like a little girl over there.
You just love Kaylee Ray matches, man.
Dude, I like the UK product in general. I mean,
no, I know it's
good. It's good.
Whenever I watch it, I'm not disappointed.
The matches are good. It's just no crowd there. It's like really hard.
Well, that's how it was at the beginning of the pandemic with WWE. So I mean, it's different in Britain. So, but I think
hopefully they do get a crowd soon.
I hope so too. But for me, I think it would be interesting to have, a championship match with 4 different brands, and because I consider them not WWE umbrella, I consider them individual promotions, because to me, in my head, it makes more sense. It gives them, you're paying attention to each one individually. It would give MLW eyes on a division that if they just start up, because you have names like Charlotte coming in and facing somebody in their ranks or whatnot, it gives more eyes on their product instead of keeping it straight on the men's tag team, the men's, singles titles. You want diversity at across. And if you're literally pushing, as WWE is, women's wrestling and other promotions are, which is awesome, the talent is immense out there, and MLW follows suit, wouldn't you want Charlotte to be in the same area as whoever's running the MLW's women's title to give that person a rub off of that? That's saying somebody in Charlotte's caliber is willing to just go in and help develop a new side of a company, to give them opportunities for women in there that can perform and wrestle. Hell, I would like Eva Marie to be the MLW champion, but that's me anyway. So, but that's me.
That's the only time anyone will ever utter those words, is right there.
But honestly, it would literally give more diversity in a company that's strictly male dominant. Now, the question I put out there, and this is a good question, and this sticks with me talking about the UK brand. Do you think it's possible that with them doing stuff with MLW, and they have the streaming rights to Evolve, and they still have all the rights to Evolve themselves, that it could spin after the pandemic something where Evolve becomes something that's an under brand for NXT UK and NXT to like as a proving ground, kind of like, you know, how OBW was for certain areas, the Ohio Wrestling Federation, they had all that stuff.
Ohio Valley, yeah.
Yeah. And could you see that being a possibility? Because for me, I could see them using Evolve as something to bring in UK talent and European talent specifically, since they do want to diversify throughout the entire world now.
So I think that idea is far more feasible than the idea that you had involving the women, which is kind of funny to me considering the fact that that involves the creation of a whole new brand. But I think before we start discussing putting Charlotte in matches with MLW talent, no disrespect to Major League Wrestling, I do like it. I watch it every week. It's good stuff. But they don't even have a women's division. So to start thinking of like championship matches that we're going to put Charlotte Flair and WWE champions in with a show that doesn't even have the division.
So
the only way that like you put Charlotte in a match like that is if it's a squash, and then you just crushed any progress that you're building already. So I would say that is a cart way before the horse type of gimmick. But as far as like the creation of using maybe Evolve as a combo spot between UK and MLW and whatever else they kind of want to do there, that would be a cool thing that I'd definitely be about, because you could even build it as like, these are two separate companies. This is where like you get some cross-branded rivalry stuff. These are some guys that are independents. You can kind of sell that idea that like, hey, we're just as open for business as AEW is, because you have that like breeding ground of an independent spot that you're kind of cultivating yourself. That'd be something I'd be interested in seeing. But yeah, I don't think you're going to get any kind of women's cross between MLW and WWE, because MLW has to have women in wrestling, not just manager roles.
Didn't Evolve have a women's champion at some point too?
Yeah.
So I mean, you could do something like that.
But a lot of those women are already in WWE now because they bought a lot of those contracts.
If MLW had a women's division, I'm sorry, but if they send Charlotte, they'll always send Charlotte if Charlotte's winning.
And she should squash.
Yeah.
Because if she doesn't squash, it makes her look weak.
It makes her it makes her look bad and very weak, and it hurts her credibility a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So one question I have is, have you guys subscribed? Anybody who's watching, hit that notification bell, turn it on to all. If you're doing the same thing on Twitch, that'd be greatly appreciated. We're trying to get up to 50 subscribers, and that way we could change a bunch of other stuff. But mainly, it's worth it. It helps out. And especially it helps the algorithm if you do hit a like and a comment too. Any positive feedback's great. Hell, I'm wearing a Matty Ice jersey right now, and it's pretty sweet. But I'm looking forward to seeing what they do, because there's so many avenues they could go with this. They can go with Evolve and make it something different. They could have different types of matchups. You could have Walter versus Jacob Fatu. You could have, so many.
I like that one. That's
so many different ideas. It's ridiculous. The next thing you know, you could have Roman versus Walter versus Bobby Lashley versus Jacob Fatu, and literally see.
You just had a dream match, right? A Roman versus Walter. That's a dream match.
That would be and I know it was not booked well, but didn't we see? Wasn't that part of the Survivor Series match?
It doesn't count.
No, I know it doesn't. But weren't they both in that match?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought.
Not canon.
To me, it will always be canon if it's a pay-per-view. But I think, for honestly, what needs to happen is, especially because we're going to transition and change into what happened Friday night, because we don't really talk about Raw on the show. Raw, unless it's prevalent. It doesn't really exist right
Kind
now.
of, yeah.
So,
Beginning of the show.
well,
I do like, just quickly, I do like what they're doing with Orton and Riddle. I really, really like it. It's very
Me
fun.
too. But I do too, but I think it's a setup. I think Orton's going to turn on him because you can't trust Orton.
Yeah, I
Well-
mean it's not going to be a long-term thing, and that's fine.
Orton's
But
going to turn on him. You know what's going to happen.
it's a short-term thing to get a young guy some props. So I got no issue with that.
So the match with Bryan and Roman was, to quote a line from Jim Ross, a slobberknocker. That was probably the match of the year so far, one of the matches of the year, but for WWE, the match of the year, in my opinion. The Bryan being moved to the Legends part, I think that's a work.
Move to Legends?
Yeah, it's kayfabe.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's
Okay.
kayfabe.
I think they're working on a new contract for him, but they're going to honor the agreement with Roman. It's a good possibility, and I'm going to throw this out there because if you put him on Raw, it's the same old matchups. You've got him versus AJ. You have him versus so many different ones. I mean,
but he hasn't faced McIntyre last year or Strowman or anybody like that caliber, though.
Or Riddle.
No, but
again,
do you really want to call it? Do you think, nothing against Daniel Bryan, he's one of my favorites. Do you really want to have Daniel Bryan give the moniker of saving Raw and having Raw put on his back? Like,
well,
but
you know
think
what?
Think about beforehand, before you go on what you're going to say. Think about all the possible matchups in NXT. Now, literally list them all side by side. I'm going to tell you, there's the longer list on NXT for him to put over and him to do more. And especially since Sean's there, that will help Sean to actually have him watch over to do more production. And what will happen is you could have matches where Bryan goes against Cross. You could have this version of Balor versus Bryan. You could get your Cole Bryan rematch again for just in general. Kyle O'Reilly versus Bryan. Hell, I'd be down to see Cameron Grimes with it. Just random stuff.
Did Finn ever face Bryan on the main roster?
Once.
Did he?
Once.
I don't remember that, but I mean, I'd be down to see it. But I don't disagree with you. Him going to NXT, totally fun. Him going to Raw, totally fun. Like, it's a credit to how good he is as a wrestler that he can go to either channel and I'd be fine with it. He can go to AEW and I'd be fine with it. Whatever he does, like, he's just a good, fun wrestler to watch. I do think that, whatever he wants to do, I think if WWE is smart and they want to keep him, let him start being a little bit brand fluid of like, he's going to go to Raw or NXT and he's only there for really as long as he wants to be there. However, if he goes to Raw,
that he wants to be part-time too. He stated that he could see it going down that way.
And you can make it work that way where it's, all right, you're going to be here for 3-4 months on this brand, run through these couple of matches, then we'll give you 2-3 months off. Then in that time we'll run a draft and we'll bring you back in the draft and we'll have you be one of our early draft picks for this show. And like, you can make all of that work within storyline and make it make sense if you plan ahead, which we know they don't do. But we did see one of his former pals on Raw get a flower jammed up his rear end yesterday.
Oh,
so maybe his old pal comes back and says, "Hey, you've been having a rough time. I'm going to help you out." And then we get that reunion. I could do that. And then those two guys as a tag team, if he wants to be part-time, it's not fully part-time to be in a tag team, but it's a little lighter on the body. Like, that would be fun to see those guys as a tag team on Raw. So
for me, what would be an amazing match would be O'Reilly versus Bryan. I don't think they've ever faced each other. That would be like a takeover main event. But
they may have in ROH. But again, totally different stage.
Yeah.
But for me, because of the fact that how crazy it would be, you can make him into WWE's Omega. in like literally because Omega is the best wrestler in between Impact and AEW overall, and that's pound per pound, top notch. I mean, look at the guy, what he did in Japan. For me, though, more so, it makes more sense to make Brian that stature, but in-house. So think about it this way. He beats Cross. Yes, fantasy booking. We are going to fantasy book from time to time, and here's this idea. Brian it goes against Cross, wins the NXT title. Let me finish.
I think it's bad for Cross.
Yeah, right? I don't see that. I can see Brian saying, "Here, we'll get him over." But yeah, go for it.
All right. Brian decides, since he can go back and forth as much as he wants, to go to Raw and try to challenge the Raw title. Now, you guys are going to be like, you're trying to unify all the titles. No, I'm trying to make Brian like a belt collector for all three brands. Keep them all separate, but the problem with that is Roman, and that would be the only thing. But with Raw and NXT, you keep Brian on NXT and you keep him on Raw. It's an idea, but I specifically want him to go to NXT because of how crazy the matchups. Hell, who in this chat can actually disagree? Dexter Lumis versus Daniel Bryan. Think about all the promos and all the stuff can be, or exactly like I said, Cameron Grimes.
Dexter doesn't talk, brother. I love Dexter Lumis, but he doesn't speak.
But I'm talking about Bryan calling him a creep, that he's sounding like you could do something like what they did with Orton and Triple H a lot in the 2000s, where he showed up at a house that wasn't probably theirs and literally was stalking their family. You could have Loomis stalk Bryan and literally set it up where Bree doesn't feel safe, and then all of a sudden Bryan comes back. That could happen.
Bree and Indy have to cross paths too. But so here's the problem.
I like the idea.
I love the idea of belt collector Daniel Bryan. That sounds so fun. Give him every single belt, all the singles belts, both top and mid card, tag belts.
I think
let's do all of it. The problem is, what did we just say a second ago? He's trying to go part-time. You can't part-time and have multiple belts. Even Brock couldn't pull that off. So,
well, do you want to have him?
I think it fits Woman better because Woman says
redo it.
Sure.
I think it fits Woman better because Woman says he's the face of WWE. Why does he go after the Raw title, the heavyweight title on Raw, and the NXT title? I think it fits Woman better. And I think it's a heel thing to do. Not a face thing.
Well, I mean, if you want to go with my theory of a true Grand Slam, like an absolute in a company, the NXT title is considered part of your company, and I'm going to throw the UK title. So, like, if they're rebranding with the women, a true Grand Slam is the women's NXT title, both main titles, the tag titles. Roman never had the NXT title. So if you want to call it,
stop.
Let me finish. He had the FCW title. He did not have the NXT title.
The NXT title.
Seth has had is the first true Grand Slam champion across the board.
So Randy Orton
is he Grand Slam champion for that title. Seth Rollins defeated for that title.
The old iteration Orton is not this generation's iteration.
Seth Rollins defeated Jinder Mahal for that title.
But I think Roman's a guy that is early enough to where that's not a fair application. Like, he was only in NXT because they had to at least somewhat legitimize it the first few months. Like, he showed up when CM Punk was still with the company. That's a long time. He was main roster over before CM Punk left. I don't think that's fair to hold the NXT thing against him.
When the Shield came, CM Punk was in the company.
Yeah, but I'm also saying the fact that he would have had an opportunity at it. Now, if you're going through this and you want Roman to be the belt collector, him versus Cross needs to happen, and that should be happening first. And that would rectify. He would be the and I believe this to be true. Oh God!
Jinder wrestled a main event, right?
Yeah, but
I have a funny Jinder story actually.
I've already said my funny wrestling story, anyways. But for me, though, if you're going to do it right to have a true Grand Slam, just like you have the women, the NXT one is missing out of Roman's showcase. So, I mean, that would rectify that. That way he could say he's the true head of the table, that nobody could touch him. He's the head of the table of SmackDown. Let's be real honest. You have Lashley holding the Raw title, and you've got Cross holding the NXT title. If you want a real true Grand Slam, Roman has to hold the NXT title at some point in his career. And the thing is, and you're going to be like, well, he hasn't hold the SmackDown title. Dude, he had the unified tag titles when he was in the Shield. That counts. He was an Intercontinental Champion. That counts. He was the United States Champion.
Yep.
That counts. He's been the WWE Champion, the Universal Champion, what he is now. What is one if you want to go full Grand Slam, yeah, I want to see him versus Walter.
No, he's still the cruiserweight title.
Yeah, no. I want to see Walter versus him for the UK title and have Walter have the opportunity for the Universal. That would be insane. I think Roman's the only person this company would put up in front of Walter to actually have him stop the streak that he's on. But that's neither here nor there because people say I'm a little crazy, and we have proven that last week. But the thing is that I honestly believe he needs that NXT title in order for his legacy to be completely complete. Like not having multiple title reigns, but just have it once, just to put somebody he deems is high enough to be over and make that shine a bit. I mean, wouldn't it make sense that he does something to, let's say there's this ungodly talent. Let's say that kid that showed up at TakeOver, the wrestler from Minnesota. I forget his name.
Gable Stevenson.
Yeah. Let's say Roman sees
Gable Stevenson.
Let's
He's going
see
to the
Roman,
Olympics.
Yeah, let's see Roman see something highly him, like extremely high about him, and he all of a sudden comes out of nowhere and wins the NXT, title. Streamer has lost access. Yes, I know. I got to recur.
So I don't think that he needs it, and I don't think that his character should, because it is. And this isn't me taking a shot at NXT, because I love NXT. It's very good stuff. But at its current sitting, it is not ever going to be on SmackDown's level. It's not going to be on Raw's level until you put other equally talented people on that show. And like this is not a shot at the talent that's on NXT, because again, I like the show, but nobody is at that level of Roman. He's not going to go seek out and find someone on a show that he doesn't even like acknowledge its existence. He is a you come to me guy. This is my yard, to use his terminology. Like, I don't see him going, oh, I'm worried about what's going on in the UK. If Walter shows up on SmackDown and is like, hey, I'm this champion, then that's one thing for him to be like, okay, no, you may have a belt, but that belt doesn't matter here. And then they can do something like that. But I don't think that he, like anything NXT, I think is beneath Roman. And again, that's not me trying to take shots at NXT. I love the brand, but I don't think that that is on a Roman level, at least not right now.
So I just thought of this. You know who is the next person closest to having like the full, like the Seth Rollins Grand Slam currently? Because if you're taking the UK title out because of Walter, Drew McIntyre, he has won the WWE Championship, the NXT Championship. He's been tag champion on, I believe, both brands. He has been the IC title. I think the only two titles he hasn't held is the Universal title and I think it's the United States title. I'm not 100% unsure if he's held that, but that would be interesting. But he was, and to point out, the original belt collector. If you watch the documentary they did about him, he had suitcases filled of title belts. I think he came in and won the chaotic title belt and gave it back to him because of the fact that he just, but that's the big thing is, though, do you see any of these, small promotions trying to get up into that level of trying to make one of these guys? Because a lot of them are alumni. So like I could have seen like, Kofi coming back and giving Chaotic Wrestling a little shine or something like that, kind of like a reunion show or something like that. But that would never happen. That would have to be big money.
WWE only does small pro. If they go into business for small promotions, they're only doing it to scout talent from those promotions. That's the only reason they're doing it.
Yeah, but
I don't see them taking anyone at a Kofi level or anything like that. Like, and not someone who is an experienced, seasoned veteran, just because they're not going to have the like. Yeah, it's not gonna. I don't see that happening. Prove me wrong. I would love to see it. Like,
it's not like the 80s.
I am all about seeing cross-branded dream matches and all that stuff. Like, it's fun. Like, this is supposed to be entertaining. So the more entertaining, the more fluid you can get. Like, cool. But at the end of the day, like, they're worried about the business side of it, and a lot of the time the business doesn't work.
It's not like the territory wars, like back in the 70s and 80s, where people go around, where wrestlers go travel different territories. It's not like that anymore.
I'm reviewing the death of those right now, actually.
For me though, it's going to be exciting to see where they go next. I'm loving the fact that Cesar's finally getting his opportunity to actually be in a main event spot, which is way overdue. For a lot of things going on though, I mean, in wrestling, it's interesting to see where they're going. Omega winning the Impact title. I watch Impact here and there, and I don't watch much of AEW, but I will be eventually with Hulu and stuff because of time.
And guts.
But where do you see Omega's next title? Because people are saying ROH. They were originally saying MLW a little bit here and there. Like some people saying, just guessing where he might go. I mean, New Japan obviously is going to probably be one of those spots. Where do you think the next title is coming from?
I would hope that it's not MLW. It wouldn't. I think the recent ties to the WWE talks, I don't know how deep those are, but I think that kind of helps scare me away from it being MLW, because I look at Fatu and Hammerstone, whichever title he would want to go after, because he can go after open weight, he can go after the heavyweight. It doesn't matter. He qualifies for both. I don't want to see him beat Hammerstone or Fatu because they're on really long win streaks. And to a certain point, like, what do you hold the win streaks for if not to break them on something significant? And that would work. But I'd rather not see another streak lost like that. ROH does make sense, because if you're trying to create a feud you're trying to create heat for AEW, then what better brand on a brand that prides themselves on honor being real? Like that. And they thing.
And part of the league do have history of ROH. They do have history of ROH.
Yeah.
The other thing I was thinking of is I just got the NWA title belt.
All this ain't dropping that.
But I mean, it could be a possibility. I mean, in an ideal situation, if they were really open for business, which Triple H says, it would be awesome to see Roman versus Omega. That, for money wise, that would literally be just insane. But
I think that would have happened already if Omega signed with WWE. I think that would have been a WrestleMania match. That
would have been like an insane match too.
Like, here's what I think. The belt collector. If Andrade and Omega have their match, if Omega accepts, I think there's a chance Andrade might actually become the new AAA champion.
That could happen.
Yeah, you got to be careful with that, because I've been thinking about this too. And I mean, I don't see New Japan doing this, but if Kenny beats Ospreay for that title, like, it would be cool, because I don't want that guy to have the New Japan title. But if you look at when he gets all of these belts and he's collected them all, I'm very curious to see how he drops them, because the AEW title will either be the first or the last title that he drops. I would guess. Because to me,
I think it'll be the last.
I hope that it's not. I hope that it's the first one, because when you think about what this does for AEW, if he loses all of these other titles, he loses the AAA title, he loses the Impact double title, he loses whatever other titles he collects in the next little while, whether it's ROH. I don't see NWA. That would be cool. It would make a lot of sense, but all this is proven to not be very open for business, that I don't see that happening. But however he has all these titles, if he drops all of them one by one by one by one, he's losing all of these matches. At that point, your AEW title doesn't mean anything. To me, it makes more sense if he loses the AEW title to Hangman Page, hopefully. So you've got some time because he just lost, and I'm still not happy about that. I get it. It's okay. Recoverable.
It's kind of a squash. It was kind of a squash in a way.
Well,
A little bit, but
It's
he
like a
had
long
gotten
squash.
attacked and all that stuff. But
Yeah.
if he loses that title and then goes into like a bout of like, oh my gosh, paranoia, depression, anxiety, whatever, and then he loses all the other ones as a result of him being upset about losing the AEW title, I think that's the smarter way to play it. But you're going to have a unique story of how he loses all of these titles.
now I could think of this as this situation if Aldis does decide he wants to play ball a little bit, but it seems like he seems the type where if he decides he agrees to drop his belt, the next major show, whether it would be let's use Blood and Guts for example.
Tomorrow.
So let's say Aldis goes up, challenges Omega because Omega states he wants the historical AEW title. Let's just say this, right? Aldis decides he will drop the belt behind the scenes, but the first title Omega has to drop is the AEW at one of their shows. So he gets it back in a couple weeks. It's happened where Aldis only agrees to drop it if he gets it back.
I mean, it's happened, but you look at where NWA is right now and where AEW is right now, and it's not a position of NWA getting to call any shots. I would love to see all this play ball, but I don't see any way where it's you're dropping the title back to him. If you were trying to do something where it's, hey, we want to show a mark of good faith, if you were to give all this the TNT title, then you've got some cross-branded, like, okay, what's going on here? I think that plays a lot better than him beating Omega at any point, because all this doesn't deserve that.
Well, anything is possible, right? It is wrestling. I mean,
So
who would have thought Eva Marie would be back?
Well, we knew about it like months ago, but we didn't know when, right? Like,
Yeah.
wait, who do you think at Impact is the one that dethrone Mega for the title?
So there's some fun options out there. People have talked about Moose. We'll see if he re-signs. I don't think it'll be Swan getting. That's where I'm hoping. Everyone's saying Samoa Joe to AEW, and I'd love it because
I think
he'll get a better
AEW.
paycheck there. But if Joe was to go back to Impact and is to beat Kenny to pull that title back, to be the ultimate savior of the brand that he was such a big part of, I think that's a really cool story. And he can come back, get the title back, have his little run with it, and then he can go and leave and do something else. He can flip sides to AEW later on afterwards. Like, he can do a lot of cool things. I would like to see it be Joe, because that is one that's believable too, because we don't know what's up with Moose, and I don't look at anyone on Impact's roster. Again, respectfully, love the show, but I don't look at anyone on that roster and go, you can beat Kenny Omega.
I think it might be others. I think Sami Callihan and Eddie Edwards might be getting the next chance to get the title. I don't think they'll dethrone him, because on last week's Impact, they attacked him, right? Him and the Good Brothers attack Eddie Edwards and Callahan. So I think those two are next in line, but I don't think either one will get dethrone Omega.
Well, we got like 7 minutes and stuff like that, and we've already stretched out a couple of things. So Backlash is coming up. We're not going to make our predictions because of the fact that these guys do these predictions. And on top of that, I mean, the one person that's here is still waiting to hear a challenge and stuff like that. You know, it's interesting to see where the Mr. and I got to do this. The king of predictions right here basically got a ton of right with Tad. So, I mean, Ray, if Anakin doesn't step up, who do you want to challenge when you and Tad start talking about that stuff?
So I wanted to take shots, and I kind of took shots at him earlier. I hope that he's doing all right. As I mentioned, taking shots. He took his second COVID shot, so I hope he's doing all right. Just make some predictions. Like it ain't hard. All you gotta do is talk. Like we got time. We'll get that set up. It's gonna happen. It's Anakin or bust. That's how it's working.
I guess Anakin's starting to understand that you basically own his headspace right now. I guess it's like he says. But I think what's going to be interesting though going forward is we have a lot of stuff planned for you guys this month. We have two special guests. We have a special guest who's been on multiple times for the 50th. I'm very happy about that. He has agreed, but it's going to be for a short time. We've got another special guest that's coming on the show. Also, very, very knowledgeable. I got to be on a show with him once, and it was an honor, and I can't wait for him to get on here. I was gonna.
This can be my challenge if it's not Anakin. It'd be a hard get. I know that. But I could go rounds with Hannah. That'd be fun.
Hannah Moore has stuff on the inside. She knows what's going on the inside.
Don't care. That's fine.
But I mean, for me though,
I'll lose to Hannah. She's better than me.
She is the absolute true build collector in the community. So we'll leave it at that, and that's an awesome thing for her. The thing with this is that this channel, and I'm gonna say this out. I've sent the tweet out. Said this on Facebook, so I'm going to say this to everybody. When we started this channel, when this channel was started in 2008, it was just to be a placeholder for music videos, stuff like that. And then I got the encouragement from friends, people, 3 major people that are well-known, documented on there for encouraging me to do this. So I want to say that one of my many goals that I set for the year span we hit today. This channel started with originally 8 people as subscriptions. We have just officially hit 220 today, and the ultimate goal when I set it as one of those things, it would be 225. We are literally 5 subscriptions away. So I want to say thank you for all those people that have subscribed. The 220 people minus the 8, so you're looking at 212 people, maybe more, that have subscribed so far, and the support is amazing. The reach has been so amazing, and especially with what happened to me the past week or so, the love has been extremely appreciated and support. It now has my mind changed since then. It's slowly doing it, but like with everything with doubt and stuff like that, it fluctuates a bit. There are days where I've had bad days. There are days where I have good days. But doing this show with these guys is therapeutic in itself. Other than that, I mean, we've got a lot of good stuff. The week of the 23rd, we're doing a show, probably about a 30-minute show. I don't know who's going to be on there, but we're going to talk about cancer and stuff like that. I might ask somebody who's doing their own show on the new channel if they can actually get their feet wet and host on that, and talk about my experiences, my family's experience with it and stuff, and in celebrative life. I want to turn something into a positive, and losing a parent is hard, especially to cancer. A lot of us, especially somebody who's really close to all of us, has lost a lot of people in the last couple of years. So, I mean, it's something where for me, I want to just put it out there. And then we've got, it's kind of sad because I never thought I would be moving the show to a different day. And that 25th is the last Tuesday show. And then we're officially, oh God, I hate to say this. We are the pre-show for we're the pre-show for Mr. Warren Hayes.
Yeah. That's okay.
Unofficially.
Hey, you know what? That's not bad. People open up for other bands. Like in the concert, they open up. They have open up.
I appreciate everything Warren's done, but this is like Kid Rock opening for Limp Bizkit. And Kid Rock and Limp Bizkit.
Gross.
No, but I'm talking about in their heights in the 90s. Let me finish. Their heights in the 90s where they're basically high-profile bands. And guess what? That actually happened. That was
Yes.
actually a tour. So I feel like
remember.
I'm in the Kid Rock position and he's in the Limp Bizkit position. I mean,
I
come
just
on, man.
Undertaker's theme music right there, both of them.
Oh God.
Kid Rock is a tool.
Yeah, he is a
But he's-
tool.
I hate that he's from the same state as me.
But the thing also is that the 25th is the last
Yeah.
last Tuesday show. The time for the 1 year episode is going to be a 2-hour show, roughly. Hopefully, I can get a round table. One of the special guests prepared on that. I'm going to put out a video stating that all people are welcome to pop in. I'm hoping people like Joe Pearl, Tim, if both of them can pop in. Certain people like Hannah, DK, I'm hoping will be there as the group to actually help me with the show. If he said he will, but we'll see on time and stuff. And then I want to start off the Thursday show off with a bang, and hopefully your boy Rob Wilkins can pop in for the first time on a full show. So that'd be great. But otherwise, to end the show on a positive note, we have. Thank you. We are officially, like I announced on Friday, on In the Mix with Rob Wilkins, in pre-production on a new show. I'm very excited for it. The person who's hosting the show is actually in the background, shadowing us, making sure we're not idiots. She's kindly has agreed to produce the show today, and get her hands attached to it. So the title hasn't been announced yet. It will be eventually within the next month or two. But when that comes on, please support it. It's a great insight and I'll say this being a guy single, for a guy to understand women, because half the time we have no freaking clue what we're thinking and understand each other. So it's a good way to have a women's perspective on all these things and get their ideas on it. So, I mean, for this person to be excited about it as much as I am to give them the opportunity, and that's why that channel is for, is a great thing. Now, will that show cross over to this channel? Yes, at times it could cross over because certain people can give a different perception about wrestling if they don't watch the product, but being with somebody who actually has a significant other that watches it, like their opinion on that and stuff. The host will probably pop in if that person is comfortable from time to time. Also, again, with the title belt, said host is available to win that title belt at some point in time as that person deems fit. So you never know. That title belt will probably be back here in Lowell or in the surrounding area, but I can't hold it. So it doesn't mean that I can't have, go get it kind of thing. But go support the new channel. Go to over Wicked Crazy Crew TV. Rob's show is going to be on Friday. And that week when we move over to Thursday, you get both of us. You get Thursday and Friday, both shows. How lucky are you? Hit the button, subscribe, tap the bell for notifications. Ray, tell them where they can find you.
You can find me right there on Twitter at AngryBeaver1127. I tweet about wrestling stuff. I tweet about social stuff, other stuff. So that's always fun. I do prediction shows for WWE, Impact, and AEW pay-per-view shows. So if you're ever curious about what I think is going to happen 2 or 3 days before a pay-per-view, I don't know why you would, but if you're curious, I do those videos. And I also have a website that is wrestlingwiththebeaver.blogspot.com, where I review 37-year-old pay-per-view shows. So if you want super outdated takes, that's where you go. It's linked up on my.
They're better than pay-per-views these days.
They are very fun, but those are both linked at the top of my Twitter. So if you go to my Twitter at AngryBeaver1127, you can find all those gimmicks. And if you can't find them, DM me and I'll send them to you.
I swear to God, Aaron, you better keep that name for next week when Anakin shows up. Aaron, tell him
I will. I'll keep. They're gonna have that thing next week anyway, right? They're gonna probably have that same thing next week anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say
next week I'll leave it up.
They're already going to have forgotten about it next week. But
Also, I forgot to mention, and this is going to be the first time ever, because every time I'm on doing this show, I'm either wearing a jersey or hoodie. I will be dressed up for the 1 year show.
I won't be.
Yeah, I'll be having a shirt, a tie, not the jacket, but I'll be dressed up nice.
I'll be having an Evolution shirt by then.
All right,
Oh,
go ahead. Tell them where they can find you.
You know they're gonna have one, right? They're gonna make that one.
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
they probably already do.
Yeah. So, off of that, I'm gonna change my YouTube channel to Aaron Newson.
Oh no,
No,
that's branding, brother. Be careful.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding, everybody. I'm gonna keep my YouTube channel as Aaron Entertainment. I do shows like 3 times a week, like Mondays and Tuesdays. Tuesdays now have been my wrestling shows. Thursdays I've been doing pop culture shows. Pop culture stuff like comics, movies, TV shows, etc. And Saturdays is my sports show where we love sports. And from time to time I do videos and stream video games. If my last 2 videos was kind of dissecting wrestling news now. If you ever heard of that guy, picks up the craziest.
Oh God, you gotta record. We gotta get those rants on there. How about this? One of these times you decide to do that show, why don't I just sit in and you do it on this channel and literally as a special show, and you can just go off because you've never, and let's be honest about this. This show is going to be a year old. You're the only one. We've had a bet about Tim flipping out saying he was going to say swears. We've had Anakin flip out with Ray on each other, with Pluggo eating popcorn. We have not had an ideal rant from Aaron.
I mean, I'm not ranting on.
Have I ever ranted though outside of playing a gimmick?
You
have once.
When? What did I go off on?
I think you went off on Raw for a little bit for about 20 minutes.
Yeah. See, this guy made a video. This guy made a 20-minute video today. I only watched some of it. I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing it on this. And he made another video like 2 days ago about 8 couples in WWE, and he like assumed that Sonny Deville and Liv Morgan in a relationship. I'm like, no, they're not.
Rooted in what?
So now we got to wrap this thing up a little bit.
Pictures of women. You can wrap this up any second now.
Perfect.
I'm sorry.
Perfect.
Pictures.
True.
Yeah, pictures. Yeah, pictures of them hanging out backstage and stuff, or as together as friends. That's his evidence.
I don't even know why you're getting full time. Let's move on. Don't give that full time.
So, other than that, you'll find Aaron at Aaron Entertainment on YouTube. He does an amazing job. Multiple shows.
I have ranted on my shows before. If you watch my shows, there's some shows I have ranted on. Usually my shows are more. I'm usually more civil, reasonable. I usually don't rant because I try to be like. I try not to rant.
Also,
sometimes I'll rant in a while.
Also, as of June, we'll have a new show on my channel, Tuesday nights. In pre-production starting next week. I'm going to contact the new host of that show. I will not be on that show. So I will not be a guest on that show either. I already have an idea for the host. I already gave that person my codes. So Head said that would be an interesting. It's going to be, the title has not been made yet. Me and this person are going to talk about it. But it's going to be a prediction show that will lead into takeovers. Now it's NXT specific. So this person's going to get their own show on this channel to actually have people in our community, if they want to pop in, and they'll make predictions about which way each storyline will go. It's fantasy booking in its finest, but knowing this person, I think they'll do a great job at hosting. I know like people like Aaron, Anakin, and stuff like that will come in and have fun with this. It's a different concept than going in and doing a pre-show or a post-show. You're predicting each storyline every Tuesday to see if it matches up, and the payoff being at the pay-per-view. This will be weekly show. It will be something fun. It'll be different, and it's something that's literally not on YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook or anything like that. So it's been it's a project that I've thought of for a while that I wanted to do, but with me running the other channel with Rob and helping up putting pre-productions on different shows and stuff, I don't have the full capability of keeping an eye on it. And I trust this person with my channel. I trust them full-heartedly with it, with everything. So I have faith in this person, and I know who I want it to be, and they'll do an awesome job. So that show is starting next week. We'll be in pre-production. Let's get up to 225 before the 1 year anniversary. And if we get past that, let's push it. If you have friends, family who are interested in sports or anything like that, tell them about the show. Tell them about everything going on. Comment, like, and subscribe. Anything you could do is positive. Do that. If you want to go to Twitch, hit the Twitch up there too. We're climbing closer to 20 subscriptions. Let's get that done. Let's get it up there. Let's do this. It makes a difference. It helps out, and especially with the affiliation and the subscriptions and stuff, it'll give us the opportunity to do a lot more to give you guys better product and better viewing and content. So like a good example, StreamYard is $25 a month, and I'm covering both channels. The Twitch side would actually help cover some of that in order for us to give you better content and more often. We're going to open up this channel up like the new channel. It's going to be a big thing. All are welcome to do whatever they want. I'm fully excited for that roundtable show that's in pre-production right now. I believe 100% in my heart that this person is going to knock it out of the park, and they have experience to do so. Check out Sister Custom Designs. They do excellent work. Go check out Fightful. Always everything. Sean and Joe and everybody and Jeremy do awesome work. Hell, Colby is covering NXT right now. He does great work too. Me and him are touching base here and there, talking about Boston sports, which is fun. Do a good deed, pay it forward. Check out these guys' handles. Subscribe to their Twitch, to their content. Also, hit up their Twitter. It's in the byline. Subscribe to the new channel. I'll see you guys Friday in the mix with Rob Wilkins at 7. So. You never know. You might see one of these luscious beards going around a bit next to me going around. Ray, do you have anything to say for Anakin?
See, I got to figure out if I want to bury him or not, because I hope he's doing well, but couldn't even hit the DMs with a, hey, not even going to make it. So it's one thing to know show, but at least tell us.
So if you're watching Twitch, we're going to hit up the Sheenom. Tell her, hey, that Throwback sent you. We're going to raid that channel on Twitch. We are raiding right now. Also, other things you guys should check out, too. Check out Love Wrestling CA. They do a great work. Fightful Gaming. Go check that out. Joe Pearl's Twitch. Go check that out. And on top of that, I cannot not put this say this again. Go subscribe to Fight Talk Twitch. Steven Jensen does amazing stuff. And then go check them out on Thursday night with Impact coming up. So, all right, guys, that's it for us. We already just started rating, Kayla, Sheenom, and just have a good night.